I never thought I'd be having the same spot where my dad spikes the camcorder and I'm telling this story and I spike my daughter. You need to do this, you know, you put a lift on, nobody tells you you may or may not need to lengthen your drive lines, right? Things of that nature. There's always the incidental or the casualty or the collateral damage of something where it expends and you just empty each pocket to fulfill your dream. Was it cheaper to rebuild the motor in the YJ or get another donor or something of that nature? Or I've got a crate motor out the door here. It's not going to cost me anything. Buy some motor mounts, weld them in, you know, do what we need to do. And that's the route we took. Like I say, it's kind of special to me. Small block Chevy, throttle bodied with the Turbo 400 that I built, with the 4-to-1 transfer case, with the Explorer 8.8 Mac, with the disc brake, with the lunchbox lock in the front. There's some value to it rather than just just a regular YJ. I don't even think I was 21 yet, and I wanted a shop. Then I met a girl, and it changed things. We went to Southern California, I went to work in a shop. 2 different shops there, a transmission shop for a little while, and then I got on board a brake shop. Accelerated my skills in a lot of areas as far as being a mechanic. When I moved back to Reno, things changed. A building on Mill Street came available. I started Martin's Auto Service in 1996. Like I say, I had the Jeeps, kept on working on my Jeep. Friends had Jeeps, so then we had this Jeep night that like I say, 4 of us, and then we'd always invite somebody else. We'd talk, hey, well, come down on this night, we'll be there. If you need help, we'll guide you. If not, you got a safe space, and we go from there. And that lasted for a lot of years. Well, I'm going to come clean on something. Well, the first time I went through Rubicon was with a friend of mine. He had an FJ40 Land Cruiser, and I had my 42 wheelies. One year, he went out of town, and I was house sitting in his house. And I took my Jeep, this 42 wheelies, up Hunter Lake. Oh, broke his steering knuckle up above the... So I had to leave the Jeep there. I grabbed his Toyota Land Cruiser to go rescue my Jeep, only to break an axle in his FJ. Got them both back to land, ordered parts, got it done, put the axle in. I don't think to this day he knows that he had a broken axle in his FJ. My first time through the Rubicon was with that 1942 Willys and my friend with the FJ40. 2 young kids, didn't have a clue what we were doing. Camped in a spot at Wentworth Springs or somewhere where we thought was Wentworth Springs. Woke up the next morning cooking breakfast and wherever we were at, the Forest Service guy was like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. We ended up at Buck Island. It's getting late. We're like, where's the springs? Oh, it's down, you know, go down. So we're going down Big Sluice with flashlights in the dark, guiding each other down, you know, get down to the bridge, right, to cross. Back then, you had to climb up a couple stair steps to go over the bridge. This is 1986. Hear a tremendous snap out of the front, jolt out of the front of the Jeep. And, you know, I climb, go back over. We set up camp. The next morning, I say, hey, I'm not sure if I can make it out. You know, I heard a big snap, and after investigating it, it found out that something catastrophic happened the front diff to where we had to unlock the hubs and take the front drive line out, because in 4-wheel drive, whatever was turning was bound up. So we had to take the hubs out and take the drive line out. Needless to say, I was effortlessly going up Cadillac and the rest of the trail where my friend had some struggles with his FJ. That's my first encounter with the Rubicon. So last October, fun fact, my son's getting more of a gearhead. He's kind of not adopting my Scrambler, but I give him the keys and he goes. So this last October, go to my little special place in off the Walker River. So it's like this rite of passage that I'm like, hey, here's the keys, here's the gas. Here, let me tell you how to go. So I get a napkin and I start drawing. Okay, you want to go? And he's like, Dad, here. Show me where it's at. I'm gonna maps it, Waze it, Google it. But you just look at the Dad. I'm like, all right, I gotta get technology, right? Because I'm a paper gazetter. I'm a compass guy. It's pretty cool because he said he was gonna leave at this time, and he left
for a 3-hour tour.
And he had a blast, and I was like, okay, he should be calling me on the radio at 10 o'clock, and I'm.
They started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossing.
And all of a sudden, you know, okay, he's getting close. And then finally about 2 miles away we were down in a bowl and he came in and he's like, Dad, this is so great coming down that road. And he had a video of a mud puddle. He goes, I went through it twice. You know, there's 40 miles of dirt. He was probably doing Mach 3, you know. Everybody sucks, don't go alone. Well, I know somebody may show up at this particular spot, maybe not. However, I do know it's 60 miles dirt to civilization. It's kind of what with my kids is like, what's their capabilities? What's my capability? What am I willing to, I certainly don't want to put them in any kind of life-threatening discomfort. I'm sure they'll learn a lot more than they would with a video game. Camcorders come out. My dad had a camcorder. I was like, hey dad, can I borrow your camcorder? Kind of special, right? Kind of spendy, kind of new, whatever, My mom says, if you're not going to let him borrow the camcorder, why don't you take the trip with him? I don't know. My dad was probably 30. We're 40 years apart, so he was 70. He's not a spring chicken. We get down before Buck Island. He was in and out of the Jeep. He wasn't sure if it was harder to take the bumps in the vehicle or to walk. He was a sore guy at the end of it. Well, he takes the camcorder, and all of a sudden, he falls down the embankment and spikes the camcorder and ejects the tape. And that's it. Never worked. Couldn't get it to work on the trail. It wouldn't close. He spiked it, right? And I'm like, Dad, love you. God rest you. But I was laughing like, you wouldn't let your son take it, but at least you're the one that, That started out the weekend, him falling. He was sore. I used to go with the guy he named Steve. We would make a hot tub, and fill up a 6-sided plywood tarp, fill it up with water, heat it with the fire, run it through a pump through the coils and stuff. At least he got to enjoy a hot tub in the middle at Rubicon Springs to soak his bones. Fast forward, my daughter's 2 years old, going through Rubicon, meet a group of people. We're almost at the exact same spot. Brian Kennedy's got somebody's Jeep up on a rock and he's welding the frame or something. And I'm like, hey, and I got my little girl. I go, this is the exact same spot where Pops, this is the embankment he climbed up. Next thing I know, I spike my daughter on the ground. I'm frantic. I am frantic. She's crying. Everybody's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm getting frantic. I was like, oh, what do I give her? So I think I gave her Benadryl. Later, she starts puking. So 3 of us go down the hill. I'm trying to keep her awake. She's puking. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's got a concussion. All these things go through my mind. 3 of us get into Placerville. We all split up, trying to look for the hospital. My buddy's calling another radio. Hey, I got a highway patrolman here. He says we need to go. We make it to the ER. We go in, and about that time, the nurse is asking me, well, whatever questions, and I turn to my daughter. Well, how old are you? So she's answering questions, and all of a sudden she's like, fine, right? In and out in the recovery room, and back up the hill we went and camped out at Loon Lake.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I never thought I'd be having the same spot where my dad spikes the camcorder and I'm telling this story and I spike my daughter.